Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I will be your host today, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my world traveling, well, maybe not the world, just the U.S. traveling, my U.S. traveling brother, finally back from up north, Alex. Alex, how you doing today?
Happy to be back.
I
felt like I spent more time driving than I did actually,
So I did
walking
get a bunch of questions. Every time you're not on the show, people freak out, right? People are like, "Oh no, are you going solo?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing this shit by myself. Boring." So people always freak out, like, "Where is he? Why can't he do the show? You did the show when you were in Boston." Blah blah blah. So bring everybody up to speed. You don't have to go into all the gory details, but tell us a little bit about your vacation.
So I just took a family vacation. Obviously, my daughter's stationed out in the Navy in Virginia. So we decided to make a little road trip out of it. So we spent some time in Virginia, went to visit famous cousin Jay in Philly, got to go back to my neck of the woods in Brooklyn and New York, visited the city, and
That's good.
got to drive in the city. That was fun.
Have you ever driven in the city?
I can count on one hand how many times I've driven in the city. And after that, I can see why it's only been a handful of times.
It's funny, like when you live there, right? When you live in Brooklyn, I can count on one hand how many times I drove in the city too. I take the subway everywhere or walk.
Honestly, I've been to the city many times only because Mom used to work out there and we used to go to school. But as far as like going just to go and hang out, not really.
Oh, I did. I would go and hang out in the city all the time. So I had a lot of friends in the city, and the city was just more exciting than Brooklyn, if you can believe that. But yeah, I never.
Now I'll say this: we spent a lot of time driving. Okay, think about it. I'm gonna say 24 hours going to Virginia, 24 coming back, then from Virginia to New York. It's a lot of time driving. It's not fair for the dads. It's not fair for the dads because the kids stay up when Mom is driving. Everyone falls asleep when Dad is driving.
Well, that's not fair. That's not right.
I know.
Why do they stay up for
So I
Mom?
just blast the music.
Y'all want to sleep? Sleep to this.
I was like, what the heck? So it was sports talk radio, music, and sunflower seeds for me.
Yeah.
Of course, I was stuck driving at night when everybody's sleeping, so it's like, whatever. But it was a good time. It was, the city's a city for me, so I loved it. We had a grand old time.
Yep. Speaking of vacation, we're doing this podcast on Black Monday, right?
Oh, man.
The day after the NFL season. And now, to be fair, they call it Black Monday, but the NFL is cheating us because people have been getting fired for a while. Like, obviously, the Packers did their thing mid-season. Right. So did the Browns. But then a bunch of teams fired people yesterday while the Sunday night game was going on, which I thought was very disrespectful.
That's right.
And for those of us that really enjoy seeing the feed on Black Monday, like myself, I was disappointed. But what's the total up to? 8 teams already?
Eight teams. 8 teams. And, I get a joy of watching head coaches getting fired. Give it to me all at one time. Black Monday. Right?
Yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing who's going to be changing. Where is the changing of the guard going to happen? And it's kind of disappointing that it all happened. That it didn't all happen today. That it's been happening in bits and pieces.
So someone tweeted out this morning real quick. Adam Gase fired. Right? He's one of the 8 coaches, and so I can't forget of the Dolphins. Yes.
Right.
And I can't forget who tweeted it out, but it was like a NFL.
You can't remember.
I can't remember. What did I say?
I can't forget.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You already forgot.
I need to stop missing podcasts. I forget how to talk.
English is hard.
It was. I forgot. It was an NFL reporter, and I forget. I can't remember who.
Or you forget.
Either or.
Right.
And he says, so, Adam Gase is one of the 8 coaches. There's no doubt, something along these lines about Adam Gase being a top candidate for
another job.
Another
head coaching job.
Yeah.
Or coordinator.
No,
job?
another head coaching job. And I'm like, wait a second. He barely did anything in Miami. How is he a top candidate?
I've never understood that. The whole recycling of coaches is always kind of bizarre to me.
Like, is he all of a sudden going to become a god? Is
like
he gonna
Bengals are going to be like, well,
Yeah.
that guy, that guy's really done some shit in Miami. We need him over here in Cincinnati.
I'll tell you what, the next coach for Cincinnati, I would love to be the next coach for Cincinnati because you can be mediocre for 16 years and have a job.
Yeah, you gotta kill somebody. It's kind of... I don't know how it works exactly in Cincinnati. I don't know how much say-so he had over player personnel issues, but if he didn't, then I kind of don't blame him. They've never really had all the talent there. And I find it interesting that they fired him this year when Andy Dalton was out for a good part of the year, AJ Green was out for a good part of the year. Like, why didn't you fire him last year when those guys were there?
And you brought him back.
Right.
Right.
Last year they were worse.
Yeah.
And they brought him back, and he had a full squad last year. Injuries weren't that bad, that mean to him last year, but this year with all the injuries and stuff, oh no, he's just not doing it. I don't know.
The Cincinnati situation boils down to one thing and one thing only: Alex's jinx lives on.
Well, that was your surprise. That was your sleeper team, right?
That was my sleeper team, yes, and they slept after 5 games. They slept the rest of the way.
We'll go back to our picks here in a little bit, but let's talk NFL. We've got the season is now over. We have our playoff matches set up, and I am very excited. Where do you want to go first, NFC or AFC?
I will start AFC.
AFC. So our teams that got the byes. The guy the bye week, the 1 and 2 seed. The Kansas City Chiefs are the 1 seed. The New England Patriots are the 2 seed. Shocking that the Patriots made the playoffs. Not surprising that those 2 teams are at the top. They've been the best teams really all season long. I mean, you can make an argument for the Chargers. They've been very good throughout the season. If I'm not mistaken, they had the same record as the they actually had a better record than the Patriots, but because the Patriots won the division, they get the 2 seed. And the Chargers, because they're a wild card, at 12-4, fall all the way down to the 5 seed
and have to go on the road
to Baltimore.
That sucks.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes yesterday got to 50 touchdowns.
That's amazing.
It's just an incredible season.
5,000 yards passing and 50 touchdowns.
It's incredible.
That's insane.
The only 2 guys who have ever thrown for 50 touchdowns before that were some guy named Peyton Manning and some other schlep named Tom Brady.
Go figure.
That's pretty good company. I mean, he's had a fantastic season. I've seen a lot of arguments back and forth about MVP. I think it's a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
It's between him and Drew Brees. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I mean, I have my preference, but I mean, both of those guys have just had phenomenal seasons. What they've done for their football teams is incredible. The Ravens... I have never been so excited to watch a Cleveland Browns Baltimore Ravens game in my life. But I was all in yesterday watching that game. It was fantastic football.
They gave us a good one.
It was great. And it was, I said it on the podcast last week. Cleveland had no chance of making the playoffs. The Ravens are at home. You would think it's an easy win for the Ravens. But with the Browns being at 7-1, they want to finish the season above 500. Baker Mayfield's first season, he came in early on in the season. It's his team now. I knew they were going to play him tough, and I knew they were going to play him all out, and they weren't going to roll over and just, say whatever, the season's over. A heck of a game. What are your thoughts about the Ravens going into the playoffs?
Man, they look... That defense looks like a younger version of these good Ravens defenses that we've seen in the past.
Number 1 defense in the league.
Is it?
Yeah, number 1 defense in the league.
I mean, that's scary, man. And then, Lamar Jackson is playing very good football. I mean, he's not turning the ball over, which is huge when you put a rookie quarterback out there, I think. And And they're led by Harbaugh, who is, who's been there before, who knows how to handle the players in the right way. And I don't know, man. It's going to be tough for the Chargers to beat them.
It is. And don't forget, 2 weeks ago, Baltimore went to L.A. and beat the Chargers.
Oh, shit.
So,
That's right.
Even though the Chargers have had a great season, 12-4, you think they're going to steamroll a team that barely got into the playoffs. Hey, look, you're right. The Ravens are living and dying by their defense, but their offense isn't bad either. And what I like about Lamar Jackson is he's not turning the ball over, right? He's not making those rookie mistakes. He looks very poised in the pocket. There's a difference between a running quarterback and a quarterback who knows he can run.
Right.
They've got enough designed run plays in there for him that when he goes back to pass, he wants to pass. And he doesn't freak out, and he doesn't feel like he has to throw the ball because he knows he can always move himself out of the pocket, throw the ball away, and live to fight another down.
Right.
And I think that's what he's doing really well. And he's playing really good football. This is the kind of running quarterback that I think we could see going forward in the NFL that can be successful. Not one that relies on his legs, but one that uses his legs kind of as an out to not make passing mistakes. And look, the guy has a great arm as well. So, he's doing a good job. He's going to be the quarterback. I think we won't see Joe Flacco starting again.
No, he's done.
And as far as the Browns go, I hate to talk this much about a team that's not making the playoffs, but the future is bright for them. I made this comment last week. You and I got into a discussion a couple weeks ago about Rookie of the Year. We were talking Lamar Jackson and Saquon Barkley, and I still think it's hands down Saquon Barkley. But really, it's not Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson only because Lamar Jackson's only played 8 games. It's Saquon Barkley and Baker Mayfield, who's played 13 games,
right.
And he's a quarterback, right? So you get a little extra love for being a quarterback. He shows a lot of poise. He's got a little bit of gunslinger in him. Once he learns to curb that a little bit, a la Brett Favre, I think he's going to be really good. And he's got a certain swagger that makes that team follow him.
Yeah.
That's going to make him good, I believe.
I didn't realize Baker Mayfield had as good as an arm as he showed yesterday. That was the first game I've seen him really play, right? You just watch highlights of every throw that he makes, but he's got a decent arm.
The thing about his arm is it's not just strong, he's deadly accurate with it. He puts the ball right where he wants to put it in very tight windows, which is a big plus.
Well, you got to compare him a little bit. Not comparing, that's probably the wrong, because then people are going to think that when you look at Drew Brees, at how small he is, you damn near have to be accurate when you're that small as a quarterback, right? And I think Mayfield possesses that a little bit, that he has to be accurate because of his size in the pocket. I mean, he's just as tall as what Brees is, and everybody said Brees can't be a quarterback because he's too small.
I think he's taller, but yeah, he's not huge.
Right.
He's not huge. He's not a huge quarterback by any means. But yeah, I mean, he throws the ball, and accuracy is the way of the NFL. It used to be years ago. It used to be that if you were at 55 to 58% completion, you're a good quarterback. If you're 58% completion rate now, you're terrible. Now you're looking at guys at 65 and 66, and Drew Brees at 70%, which is kind of sick if you think about it.
He's done that a few times.
I mean, it's amazing. It's 70% in today's NFL. He's completing 70% of his passes.
You think that has to do a little bit with defenses having to back off a little bit because of those, close calls and can't touch the receivers as much? And
well, certainly it helps, right? When there's more pass interference calls, now those don't become what is a pass interference today would have been an incompletion,
right?
Years ago. And oh, by the way, it does affect the way corners and safeties and even linebackers, the way they defend the pass. So yeah, it certainly is because of an evolution of the rules, but it's still 70%. It's higher than anyone else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when we're talking 65% is good, 70% is a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Drew Brees for you. So we've already talked a little bit about one matchup. The other side of it is going to be the Texans, who won the AFC South yesterday with a win against the Indianapolis Colts, who they played the first playoff game of the year yesterday because it was them against the Tennessee Titans. Winner goes on into the playoffs. Loser goes on vacation. Unless it was a tie, in which case they both would have gone on vacation.
That's right.
And the Steelers would have gotten in. Saw a cute tweet yesterday about that. The Steelers saying, "We're rooting for both of you equally."
I'm kind of glad the Steelers didn't get in. They don't deserve to be in. I mean, they blew it. So
yeah,
I don't think they should be in.
They had some losses that they shouldn't have had.
Yes.
It's what's really interesting about this Texans-Colts matchup. It will be here in Houston. The Texans started off 0-3. Sky is falling.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts started off 1-4, 1-5.
1-5, I think.
The sky is really falling.
Yeah.
And now they are meeting up in the playoffs.
That's awesome. That might be the best game
this weekend?
Or Saturday, maybe.
There's only 2 games on Saturday. It's the best game on Saturday. It's the best 3 o'clock game on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching.
I'm going to be all in, man.
That's going to be good, man. Watching the Colts, and Colts are another team that I haven't watched all year, but watching them yesterday, dude, they can run the ball very well.
Yep.
And they don't pick up, it's not 1, 2, 3 yards. Like, they pick up 4,
Chunks.
5, 6.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize Andrew Luck has such a pretty touch on the football. I mean, he throws, talk about accuracy, he throws some pretty balls.
What's interesting about him is, and I think it's not exactly a coincidence that they started off 1-5 and now they're playing good football. I think he had to kind of, what's the right word here? He kind of had to warm up to the season, to throwing again, to slinging the ball 45 times a game or whatever, 40 times a game. He had to kind of get into the groove again. The guy was off for a long time, and inevitably when you come back from injury, speaking from experience, in the beginning you're like, but wait, does that hurt? Does that feel right? Am I feeling something or can I really let it go? What if I hurt it again?
Right.
No matter how hard you train, you still have those little nagging doubts, and I think he had to work through those a bit, and now he's playing elite level football.
Yeah, and their offensive line is good. That's what I want to see in the trenches. The Texans' defensive line against the Colts.
That's going to be the matchup right there. That is going to determine the game. I think the Texans will score 25, 30 points. It's, will they be able to hold Indianapolis from scoring that much, or will Indianapolis just score way more? Will their offensive line be able to kind of run it through? I feel pretty confident that we'll get 24-27 from the Texans. It's what will we get from the Colts in that matchup? And you're right, it does boil down to in the trenches what happens there, because it's going to be good stuff.
I think it will. This literally might be the best game of all 4.
Oh, of all 4 now.
All 4.
Wow.
Or all 8 of the whole playoffs.
Oh, ever. That's right. Let's be Monday morning extremists, right? Like you hear it every Monday, right?
Yeah.
When Dallas won 2 games in a row, Dallas is going to the Super Bowl. When Dallas lost, Dallas sucks. Which, speaking of Dallas, we move on to the NFC. You've got your 1 and 2 seeds, which we kind of knew this a long time ago. The Saints, the 1 seed. The LA Rams are the 2 seed. If you want to go to the Super Bowl, you got to go through New Orleans and Drew Brees and company. The other division winners are, I'm going to say, surprising. I think that's a good word for those two, right?
Are you surprised?
I'm shocked because I didn't have either one of them. In fact, I had one of them as my sleeper team that would have a pretty good feel-good season.
That's what I'm saying. Are you surprised?
Well, but I didn't think they would go. Yeah. I didn't think they would go 12-4, 11-5, whatever. The Bears really surprised me.
Yeah.
I did have them as my sleeper team, but they went 12-4.
Yeah.
And that's more than I expected. When I said sleeper, I thought, they're going to be 9-7.
Right.
Look good for 2019, positive for the future. No, they the
look
future's
good now.
It's now. And then the Cowboys on the other side, which look, I said the Cowboys were an 8-8 team before the season started, and they were. Except they took 2 of those losses and flipped them to wins and ended up at 10-6.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
God, I hope they lose.
But here's the thing about the Cowboys, and it showed yesterday against the Giants. It was a meaningless game, I understand, but that offensive line is what makes it happen.
Yeah.
And they can run the ball, and if they can run the ball, they can play with anyone, except for the Saints and Rams, I think. But actually, except for the Saints, because I think even if they run the ball, the Saints just score so much that
they
it's
beat
a problem.
the Saints though.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, but the offensive line is what makes it happen for the Cowboys. Elliott didn't play yesterday, and they still ran the ball consistently well. And say what you want about Dak Prescott, he's a good quarterback. Is he elite? Probably not. But he's a good, solid quarterback. And now he's got good pieces. He's got Elliott. He's got a good offensive line. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got Beasley. The offense can go.
He's got a tight end that came out of nowhere yesterday and scored like 3 touchdowns.
Yep. So, I mean...
And, and they're playing another sleeper team or a team that I didn't think was going to do anything.
Well, we didn't talk much about this team at all.
I thought they were going to be like top 10 draft pick this year.
I didn't think they were going to be that bad, but I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs.
And they all of a sudden now are running the ball and, relying on Russell Wilson to make it happen like they always have.
I wonder if that team just... as good as the Legion of Boom was, I think it got to a point where it was just too much. And I think that team has benefited from Richard Sherman going off to San Francisco and, Michael Bennett going off to Philly or wherever the hell he went. And,
I think only one remains, Wagner. I think he's the only one.
Earl Thomas got hurt. And, not that you want to see anyone get hurt, but, that big voice went away. And, all of a sudden, it's Russell Wilson's team, and they seem to be playing very good football at the right time of year. That's another team that started off kind of slow and really picked it up as the season went on.
And you can kind of say that they played a playoff game already also against the Chiefs last week on Sunday night. I mean, that was an important game for them because the Vikings had won, right? The Vikings won last week. Right. The Eagles had won. So that was their win and in game.
Yeah.
And that was a and the Chiefs were still playing for something also. So they were able to run with the Chiefs.
Yeah, they look good. I think that's going to be a really good game. Obviously, they have to go to Dallas. The other wild card is the Philadelphia Eagles, which
as a Giants fans, this sucks. Watching the Eagles and the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Here's the... I hate to think this. I hate to even think this. But are we getting 2017 all over again? I mean, is Nick Foles going to take this team? I mean, is this the recipe for Philadelphia going forward? Have Carson Wentz get you off to a good start during the season and then bring in Nick Foles towards the end for the playoff push and onward. It's kind of scary.
Eagles fans don't want to hear that. They don't believe in Foles.
Really?
I don't think they do.
He's a backup for a reason, right? But
is he?
But
is he?
But he got the job done once. There's no reason to think he can't get the job done again.
Now
they've got a tough go because they got to go to Chicago, and Nick Foles is dinged up.
Yeah. This could be the end of this run.
this 1 year run. Look, but still, regardless of what happens this weekend against Chicago, hats off to the Eagles because they were left for dead a while back. I want to say about 4 games ago, they were left for dead, right? They were done.
Yeah, and I think they still have issues though in the secondary. It's a feel good story again, but I mean if we got to break down the teams, the Eagles are probably the worst team in the playoffs right now. Like then I don't think they're that good.
Yeah, and I mean, if
they
I had
snuck in there,
if I had to rank the playoff teams 1 to 12, I would probably put the Eagles last.
So you know what's going to happen now? They're going to go on a run and win the damn thing, just because we.
I mean, when in Week 14, when they lost to the Cowboys in Dallas, I mean they were 6-7.
Yeah. And
they had to rip off 3 straight and get a little help.
Right.
The Vikings shit the bed yesterday.
Oh, did they?
I mean, the Vikings couldn't. The Vikings offense couldn't move the ball out of a wet paper bag yesterday. They looked awful for a team that was trying to play for a playoff spot at home.
That's what $84 million guaranteed gets you. Did you see them on the sidelines?
Yeah, that was animated discussion.
Yeah,
they're all good.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, they're all good now. They're gonna take a vacation together.
They're gonna go fishing.
I mean, I don't, I think Chicago's defense is good enough to contain the Philly offense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I agree with you.
I just don't see the Eagles.
My problem with Chicago is
moving the ball well.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because I think the Eagles' defense is pretty good. They've got some holes, but I still think they're pretty good. I still don't trust Mitch Trubisky. I just don't. I don't know how to explain it, but I just don't.
He doesn't have to do much. That's the thing.
He doesn't. Do much. No, and they run the ball well. But when you get to the playoffs and the windows tend to get a little bit tighter, the spotlight gets a little bit brighter, I just wonder
if Chicago is going to run a Chicago special. Trey Burton now plays for the Bears.
That's right.
Right? So I wonder if he's going to...
Well, he knows all the specials.
That's right.
He knows all the specials on the menu.
All the Philly specials.
So, hey, listen. So, generally, in the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, 3 out of the 4 home teams win. I mean, that's generally the way. If you look at the percentages over a long period of time, generally 3 out of 4 home teams win.
Betting trend, I like that.
I mean, I don't use it for betting purposes.
Okay.
But I've heard people say that this happens.
Gotcha.
Against the spread. No, actually, straight up. So, if you have to pick one home team to lose this coming weekend, who do you pick?
One home team to lose, I would go with the Bears.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I would go with Baltimore. Only because Baltimore or Dallas?
No, you can only pick one.
Baltimore or Dallas or Chicago or Houston. No, if I had to pick, I'd go Baltimore just because I think LA is a good football team. I see you wrote San Diego. You know they don't play in San Diego.
Oh, I sure did. They will always be San Diego.
I can't tell you how many times I've called them San Diego this year.
Well, look, 17 weeks and we're still
on TV. They do it too.
Yeah.
What's
your reason? What's your reason for picking the Colts? The Baltimore Colts.
Going way back. Well, the Ravens have played a lot of tough games here recently. I think the Chargers got to rest some people yesterday, and they just played a couple weeks ago. So the whole Lamar Jackson thing is not going to be a surprise to the Chargers. Right. They've seen it. They can deal with it. And same thing with that defense, right? They've seen it. They can deal with it. And I do think that the Chargers are just overall a better football team. And there's something going on with Phillip Rivers this year where I feel like he's just got something going on that's going to be good.
I feel like what you just said about the Chargers, we've been saying for a lot of years now, and they always seem
to fuck it up.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like, and they do. I agree with you. They have a good offense. Their offense is good.
Yeah,
their defensive line is good now that Bosa's back and healthy. So I don't know what to think of the Chargers because on paper, I mean, and on their record showed and how they played,
certainly
they played very well. But I don't know. Come playoff time, they always choke
Interesting.
it up.
So, real quick, give me your picks for the weekend.
Oh man,
and jot them down so we can argue about it next week.
God. Okay,
so let's start. Philadelphia at Chicago.
I'm gonna go Philly.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Philly.
I'm gonna go Chicago. Seattle at Dallas.
This pains me so much, Dallas.
I'm gonna go Dallas as well. Indianapolis at Houston.
Man,
what are you thinking about? You have to go Houston.
Yeah, I know, but damn, dude, Indy's playing good, bro. Division game.
That's tough.
I'm gonna go with the home team. Gotta go home team.
I'm going Houston.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
And then the Chargers at Baltimore.
I'm gonna go Baltimore again.
I'm gonna go Chargers.
Yeah.
L.A.
L.A. or San Diego?
L.A.
Okay.
We'll do this again next week. We'll talk about which home team's gonna lose, or do you want to do it now? Pick which one of the 4 teams that have a bye is gonna lose.
Oh man.
So the
we
4
can pick it now. Who are they?
Let's pick it now. So the 4 teams that have a bye: Chiefs 1, Patriots 2, Saints 1, Rams 2.
So according to my picks, the Patriots would play Baltimore.
Right. And the Chiefs would play Houston according to your picks.
Okay. And then you would have New Orleans and Philly and Dallas and the Rams. Oh, I'll go Baltimore. I'll pick New England to lose.
To lose next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Against the Patriots and the refs. How about that?
Okay. And I am going to go based on my picks. If I'm not mistaken, Houston would go to Kansas City, and the Chargers would go to the Patriots. Chicago would go to the Rams, and Dallas would go to New Orleans.
Ooh.
I think the Texans will knock off the Chiefs. So I pick KC to be the home team to lose.
Be the lone home team that loses next week.
Home team, right? That's always interesting to me.
But it happens.
It again, they say, I don't know who they are. On average, 1 out of 4 home teams loses the first 2 weeks of the playoffs. Yeah. So I went through the archives and I pulled our picks.
Ah, sweet.
So let's real quick talk a little bit about what we said 4 months ago.
Wow.
Back on podcast 35.
35, the Big Hurt podcast.
The Big Hurt podcast. Man, that was a long time ago.
That was, and looking at these picks, holy smoly guacamole.
So I'm gonna start with the sleeper team, right? Because you had the Bengals, and after 5 weeks, I was praising your sleeper pick.
Yeah. I had everybody convinced that the Bengals.
And then they just went on a tailspin.
Yeah.
I had the Jets and the Bears. And the Jets did show some signs of getting better. Darnold might be the real deal. We don't know yet, but it looks like he could be. And I had the Bears. Now the Jets didn't quite make it to my sleeper pick, right? Yeah. They fell a little bit short. They were kind of not good. The Bears exceeded my sleeper pick, so I think I got my sleeper pick right if you average them out.
Half and half. Can't pick 2. I only picked 1.
Well, if you
in that case, I picked the Chargers.
No, because your real sleeper team is who you picked to make the wild card.
Oh my god, dude! I mean, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait. So yeah, in the NFC, I just picked 3 of the 6, right?
Playoff teams. I picked 1, 2, 3. I picked 3 as well.
Okay, I don't feel that bad then.
Yeah, we didn't do so good in the NFC. We both had the Eagles winning the division.
Yeah.
Neither one of us thought the Cowboys were worth a damn, so they shocked us. We both had the Saints in the playoffs. I had them actually losing out on the division to the Falcons, but
Right.
you had the Falcons as a wild card. We both thought the AFC South was going to provide two teams.
Right.
We expected more from the Falcons.
Yeah.
The Falcons didn't do the deal.
No.
Right?
At all.
We both had the Rams out west. Neither one of us thought much of the Seahawks. We didn't even mention them, I don't think. And then in the North, we had the Packers and the Vikings.
Needless to say, we had that wrong too.
The Packers were terrible.
What was I thinking picking the Arizona freaking Cardinals?
Are
Who
they
didn't
still-
even wait till Black Monday to really
They fired that guy like
quick.
like during the post-game handshake. I think they fired him.
Hey, cut his mic off, he's fired.
Yeah. Do I need to go do the post-game press conference?
Nah. You're good.
Who was the coach over there anyway?
Brad Wilkes.
Yeah, I don't
something
even remember.
Wilkes.
That poor guy. He got whacked.
Yeah, I had some.
Did
really
he even
bad-
make it back to the locker room before they fired him?
Yeah, they Ubered him home.
Man. And then in the
Oh my god, dude! I keep looking at my picks.
in the AFC, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had all 4 division winners
That's pretty good.
and 0 wild cards.
I mean, look at my wild cards sucked. AFC and NFC. Jags, Jets, Falcons, Cardinals. That is horrendous.
Hey, look, man, the division winners is where it's at. Who cares about the wild card? You had Pats, Bengals, Texans, Chiefs. You had 3 out of the 4 divisions.
3 out of the 4, not bad.
Which is not bad. Not bad. I had Steelers and Jags making the wild card. We both thought more of the Jags. And
Oh man,
the Jags are in a bad spot. There's some serious issues there. Tom Coughlin came out yesterday and blasted Fournette and Yeldon. The defense was supposed to be really good, and it was at times, but at times was terrible. I mean, they gave up 40 points to the Cowboys, and Jalen Ramsey will not shut up, and all that does is make the other team play better, I believe. And then on the offensive side, you know, Fournette, who's really the beast of that offense, apparently is not into it because he put on weight during the season, which is very rare.
And he was voted by the players as team captain.
Yeah,
So
he came off the bench to that fight in Buffalo. The quarterback situation's a mess. Marone didn't get fired today,
how is that?
but I bet you he wishes he had. Because seriously, I mean that team is in need of a serious overhaul. There's lots of problems.
If it's the right guy to do it, it's Coughlin. To try to instill a different culture in there.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, but on the flip side, how much can he do in the GM position? And how much can he do when he's, what is he, like 94, 95 years old now? I mean, does he even have the energy to really do it? And that's part of the concern as I look at him from the outside. I don't know.
I think you said it best. Overhaul is the best word.
they gotta level that thing and start over,
I agree.
which is tough. But hey, it's playoff time. The NFL has a really cool commercial about, are you ready for the playoffs?
Does it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
I
it yet.
saw it yesterday. I love it.
Yeah.
You know me, man. Once the playoffs start, I get all kinds of jacked up. I love this stuff.
Yeah, it should be good. NFL playoffs.
It's like coffee intravenously in one vein and Mountain Dew in the other, man. I get all kinds of jacked up for the playoffs. I wake up in the morning on Saturday, I'm like, it's playoff games. I love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
awesome.
It. All right, buddy, you want to shut this down? Episode 54. You got a shout out?
54. I cannot. Being that the Bears are in the playoffs, I'm gonna go Brian Urlacher.
You took my 54.
Oh, by the way, Harry Carson, very good, number 53.
Old school.
But the Giants beat the Broncos with that defense in '86.
What did I say?
You said
The Bills?
the Bills.
They beat the Bills too.
Was he on that team?
Probably. Probably not.
I'll have to look that up.
You know what we should do on these podcasts?
I don't think he was.
We should start off every episode with a fact check from the previous episode.
Yes.
For all the dumb shit that you say.
I do say a lot of dumb shit. I can't think of any other 54.
I can't think of another 54 either. Oh, well.
Brian Urlacher it is.
Brian Urlacher. The Brian Urlacher episode. You got a shout out today?
Nah, no shout out.
No shout out?
Can't think of one.
I do have a shout out. My shout out goes to Amanda Nunes. UFC 232 was Saturday night in Los Angeles. Originally scheduled for Las Vegas, there were a bunch of complications regarding the main event between John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. So they moved the entire card on 6 days' notice to Los Angeles. Amanda Nunes was the UFC 135-pound bantamweight champion. She moved up to 145 to challenge the UFC's featherweight champion, Cyborg, Chris Cyborg. Chris Cyborg was 20-1. She lost her first fight and ripped off 20 straight wins. She had not lost in 11 years. And she was by far the most destructive force in women's MMA. I know people loved Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey never was as destructive as Chris Cyborg. Amanda Nunes, before the fight, said the way to beat Cyborg is to put pressure on her and to fight her and not run away from her. And a lot of women have said that before. And once they got hit one time by Cyborg, they started backing up because that's how dominant Cyborg is. Well, Amanda Nunes went in there, stood in front of her, and for 51 seconds, that's right, 51 seconds, less than a minute, she traded shots with Cyborg. And very quickly, you could see that her speed and her precision and her power was going to win the day. She knocked Cyborg down 4 times in 51 seconds.
Jeez.
And look, this is a shout out to Amanda Nunes, but it's kind of a shout out to Chris Cyborg as well. Because Chris Cyborg popped up 3 times after she got dropped. Literally got hit, fell, popped right back up, and kept fighting. The 4th time she face planted, and that was the end of the fight. And Amanda Nunes won the UFC's 145-pound featherweight title on Saturday night in 51 seconds over one of the most dominant female fighters we have ever seen. Hats off. My shout out goes to Amanda Nunes. Fantastic performance.
51 seconds, 4 knockdowns.
Yes.
3 knockdowns, 1 knockout.
Yeah. I mean, it was a firefight.
Jeez.
It was fantastic. I mean, look, you don't have to buy the pay-per-view. Just go on Twitter. That 51 seconds is on there somewhere. Trust me. It's
Seriously.
amazing. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. You see the slow-mo and you see the shots of their face. And Amanda Nunes, eyes open as these punches are whizzing by. And she is looking to see where she's going to land her shot. I mean, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Fantastic performance.
That's great.
Well, here we are on the last day of the year.
Oh, damn.
And we are done with episode 54. Another wonderful episode. Thank you, as always, to all of our fans that watch us. If you want to reach out to the show, you can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of this guy, how do they do that?
On Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 8.
And if you want to reach me, you can reach me on Twitter as well at eMontana21. With that, another episode in the books, another year done. We'll talk about New Year's resolutions next time.
Have a safe New Year's.
That's right. Don't drink and drive. Uber your way around town, folks. Have a good time. Start the year off right. And as always, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.